Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Molly, and this is Let Molly Do. And it's early morning, the sun's out, you can see it on my face, this isn't even a filter, this is real life. So we're finally here into the summer, and it's probably 8 a.m. right now. I got my little morning, see this light in my eye? I got my morning squint going right now. But that's okay, because we can wear a tank top outside, and it's beautiful. So yeah, there's the pea plant. This is just a sweet pea variety that I grew from seed. As these grow, I do guide it because agriculture, this is agriculture we're doing, we're not living in the wild. You help the plants out and you make them do what you want them to do in agriculture. So sorry if you want the peas to live free, but I'm telling them what to do. So as these grew, I would weave them in between the sticks. And that's how they end up looking like they're growing up nice and straight. Otherwise, to be honest, maybe some of them would go up a bit, but the rest would just kind of be down in the bed growing over it. If we get down in here, you can see this Italian basil that I grew. And something else I'd like to point out is that often in home gardens, they'll buy one basil plant or they'll grow from seed maybe one or two basil plants. But as you can see here, just to keep me going through the whole summer, I actually have 8 basil plants of 2 different varieties. So just because 2 dinners in, one basil plant's going to need a lot of time to recover. So while one is recovering from being picked, you have another one growing. So you can just kind of bounce off of, all of them, so you're not beating down just one of them if you have 6. So this tomato plant right here, the name of it is Tasmanian Chocolate. And I grew it from seed. It's a container variety, meaning it was bred to do well in small areas, which even though we have a lot of space in my garden beds, it's still limiting because you're containing it. Essentially, this is just a very large container if you really think about it. So I try to pick a couple container varieties that will thrive, but I do have a lot of non-container varieties in here. But you can just take a look, like these leaves that the Tasmanian chocolate grows are so beautiful. And if you're wondering, it comes from Renee's Garden Seeds, Tasmanian chocolate. I'm so in love with how gorgeous this tomato plant is. This one right here, growing right alongside next to it, I believe this is the Black Beauty species, which is an extremely beautiful species that'll grow deep black tomatoes. But you can kind of see in comparison that they grow kind of like leggy and long, and they have these really goofy looking limbs that just stick out from everywhere. A lot of tomatoes tend to look like this, but this guy right here is such a stud. Like, he just stands straight upright. He has really stocky leaves. They're really wide and deep green. Like, you can see this, like, the stem is like a fucking dope plant. Like, it's just so nice. Look at these peppers in the light. They just look so good. So I have some jalapeno. I have a variety that's similar to whoa, what's going on over here? Oh my god. Oh my god, what's nature doing? What is that? Did you see it? What is it? Is that a bee? Oh my god, what's nature doing? Maybe it's a cicada, that's all I can really think of. This guy he seems pretty brand new just because his exoskeleton seems fragile, or it almost looks more like a latex rubber glove on his butt than some kind of firm exoskeleton. I know he's not in focus, but He might be a cicada. I'm not sure. In case he's destructive to the garden, I'm just gonna move him out of the garden. I know bugs aren't the cutest thing, but they play a pretty big role in the ecosystem, so we should be nice to them if they can. Unless this thing is like called crop killer, then in that case we need to kill him. But no, we're gonna just move him out of the yard. So let's I think he's pretty cool. I don't really know what he does. Don't be afraid to like get out there. Get away from your... I have like a rim of food around my mouth. It's super early morning. I'm gonna be 32 next week. This is as good as it gets. What I would want you to take away from this video today is it looks nice to look at other people's garden, but you can start your own, and it doesn't have to be big. It can just be, it can be one tomato plant, or it can be one pepper plant. It can be one tomato, one basil, one pepper plant, and you grow them in 5-gallon buckets with some high quality potting soil. It's on your patio, and you have a garden. And if you feel good about that, then you can expand on it from the next year. And then the year after that, maybe you can put some raised beds in if you have the space. That's the way I did it. And I would really encourage you. I would really encourage anybody to try growing their own food or growing like a herb just to start off with. I find it extremely rewarding, and there's nothing in the modern world that really gives me the same sense of satisfaction the way maintaining my own garden can. And I don't know if it's just like an old cliche, listening to someone with a garden talking about the satisfaction that you get from having a connection with nature, but it is pretty real. Look at that. That's beautiful. I'm just out here, the sun's shining. Look at that. Yes. Feels good. Get into it. Get outside. You know you got a yard space. You have a stoop. You have a patio. You have a window.